Hello, people. All right, so wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about unmet needs, right? So I was just sitting here thinking about how much we don't learn growing up about all kinds of things. And I'm just thinking about the fact that if you want wholeness or peace or contentment or to feel good about who you are and the decisions that you make. Called a lot of different things, but essentially it's happiness, right? If you are wanting happiness, then you have got to learn to fight for what you need, right? We don't do enough teaching our children, specifically women, right, about how to communicate, how to take care of themselves, how to fight for the things that matter to you. We just don't do a lot of teaching our children, from my perspective, right, on what it looks like to really get your own needs met. So, as I'm sitting here thinking about um, how many people are walking around unhappy and stuck and settling, it is directly connected to your ability to fight for what you need. And when I say fight for what you need, I'm really talking about your ability to communicate what you need, right? So the best way to get what you need and get your needs met is to communicate it, right? So often, especially women, right? But people in general, so often we want our partners, our parents, our coworkers, or whoever to just kind of know what we need, right? So I've known you for 2 years or 5 years or 20 years. And so by now, you should just have a good understanding of my expectations and my needs. And so I shouldn't have to tell you. But that's stupid, right? Like, that's unrealistic, and you are never going to get what you need doing it that way, right? You have to learn to communicate with people about the things that are most important to you because the truth is you're a complex person, right? I'm a complex person. You're a complex person. Your partner, your mother, your children, your coworkers, whoever, they're complex. And so requiring somebody else to figure that out without communication is a setup to fail, right? So as you're in search of happiness and improving different areas of your life, think about where are the opportunities for me to communicate clearly what's important to me. And it comes with a risk, right? It comes with a risk because just because I tell my partner or my mother or my boss or whoever what's really important to me and what I need does not mean I'm going to get it, right? All it does is improve my chances of actually getting it, right? The chances of me getting it without saying it is like 0% or maybe 10% or some really stupid percent, right? And when I say it, maybe my percent goes up to 40, 50, 60, right? But it still is no guarantee. And so, yes, there's a risk, but you would be surprised at how good it feels to fight for what you need, even when you don't get it, but also how good it feels when you fight for what you need and you do get it, right? Those things have a way of boosting your self esteem and contentment and peace and just overall happiness with who you are. And so, while it is a risk, it's one of those risks that are worth it and really a requirement for your happiness. You have got to learn to communicate what you need. And so, one of the things that I find is that a lot of times we don't even know what we need, right? So, there's this exercise that I do with the women in my group um, to help them clarify who they are and what they're looking for. So this one is just related to intimate partners, but you can do it with, sisters. You can do it with sisters or parents or, in any area of your life, even business or whatever. So you basically identify your wants, needs, and non negotiables, right? So your wants are those things that if you could pick your ideal mate, right? What would that person look like? How tall would he be? What kind of characteristics would they have? Uh, what would they do for you? Just pie in the sky, unrealistic, but these are the things that I want, right? So you start there and then you get a little bit more reasonable, right? And you identify your needs. And your needs are the things that if you don't have them, you're not going to be happy. And this is the tricky one because so often we are willing to compromise on what we need. When the truth is, what we need is what we need, right? So you take some of the things from your wants column and you put them in your needs column, right? And the best way to decide what goes there is one, determining how you feel if you don't have it, right? And how you feel when you do have it. Um, and looking at past relationships, it has a good way of teaching us what's important to us. So, for example, one of the things that's on my needs list is public displays of affection, right? I can't be with somebody who doesn't like public displays of affection, right? It's important to me. It doesn't matter that other people don't like it. It doesn't matter that people don't understand. It matters that I know that I need it. And so it goes on my needs column. So it doesn't matter how weird or, the fact that you technically shouldn't need this. If you need it, you need it, right? The key is you have to be honest with yourself. And then the last column is just about your non negotiables. And so now your non negotiables are basically things that you can see within a short period of time. So on everybody's needs is trust and communication and honesty and blah, blah, blah. Like we all want those things. But those are not things that you can see in a person within a short period of time. You don't know whether you can trust somebody in 3 weeks. So the non-negotiables is really mostly about the things that you can see in a month or two, which means that you really have to be intentional about the conversations that you have, right? So if being a good father is one of my non-negotiables, well then guess what I got to do? I got to ask some questions around your parenting and time and all of that. And so I find that in terms of trying to get our needs met and reach our happiness, we have to first get clear about what we need. So that's a process, but you got to be intentional about it. And then after you figured out what you need, well, then the work is sticking to it, right? So I can know I need affection, and I can know that I need, someone who um, is going to take care of me or buy me things or whatever your love language is or whatever those things that are important to you. But then we compromise and we settle, right? So the second part is just learning to stick with it, um, because that becomes really important. And then the last piece is to communicate, right? So even if you're in a relationship with somebody and they were meeting your needs 6 months ago or 2 years ago, you're going to have to bring that up because your needs are going to change. Life is going to happen. And so you have to figure out what you need. You have to learn to stick to it. And then you have to learn to communicate it. So hopefully this helps you. I'm out. Peace.